Hello everyone, welcome to my video. It's Dark Purple Shadow here, and I just want to say I hope everybody's having a lovely 2020. And this is a bit of a little podcast-ish video. Don't really want you to pay too much attention to the screen. Put it in the background while you're doing some skilling, some training. Me personally right now, as I'm making this video, as I'm making this little dialogue, I am literally running rings around Canifus agility course, trying to get to the marks of grace. I really want a good agility level. I bloody hate being under 50 agility. I'm literally 49 agility right now, and I don't want to stop doing canifers till I'm like 60, so I can move forward with my life. But basically, today's been a very nice morning for me. It's a beautiful Sunday here in the UK. Not raining for once. Beautiful weather. Everybody's feeling great. All the people I've met today, just me basically. And I just want to make a quick RS video, and it's a bit of a tier list, not a tier list, a bit of like a top 5, and I'm going to be discussing my top 5 old school RuneScape music tracks, and I'm sure everybody has slightly different ones, and I'm sure, there is some memes involved here, obviously Shanty 2 being the most meme-worthy track in all of RuneScape. However, this is going to be more of those tracks that give me that deep gut punch of nostalgia that everybody who still plays old school RuneScape and still has this game close to their heart still gets. So I'm going to start off the list now. I'm going to start with the honorable mentions. Obviously, I have some tracks here that might be a bit more obscure, and people may not know exactly what's going on with these tracks. However, I do really recommend you check out some of these tracks, as they are quite beautiful pieces of music in themselves. I don't really leave the music on when I'm playing RuneScape, because I usually have a video like this, like a podcast or something RuneScape or non-RuneScape related in the background while I'm, scaping away. However, it always is something that I do time to time. I just play an old RuneScape music track just to remind myself of my childhood, and I'm sure everybody feels the same way when they play a track. Personally, I started playing RuneScape in 2005, towards the tail end of the year. I didn't have a clue what the hell was going on till about 2006, summer. So from about, September 2005 till about summer of 2006, RuneScape was the most confusing thing in the world to me, because I was a dumb little 11-year-old. And, I wouldn't trade that for the world. Those were some of my biggest and best memories in RuneScape, even though I probably gained, 10k XP from the moment I made my account in 2005 to the moment I actually realized what the hell was going on around the Christmas event of 2006. So, without further ado, let's get straight into the list, and I'm going to start off the list with some honorable mentions. Okay, so the first honorable mention is Shanty 2. Obviously a beautiful track, lovely track, composed to a very high level and beautiful in every way, shape and form. And there are two versions of this track, and the version that most people are probably familiar with is the slightly updated version. However, the older version is just as good. Very slight differences between the two. My second honorable mention is the Newbie Melody. Beautiful track again. Actually feels like that, dystopian tutorial island vibe where you literally have no clue what's going on. It is a wonderful thing to listen to, and everybody has a warm place in their heart for the Newbie Melody. I'm sure for everyone it is either going to be in their top 5 list, or it will be a track that they do consider an honorable mention as well. And for me, my last honorable mention is a track that's a bit more obscure and a bit more personal. It's called Jungle Bells. I think this track came out around the 2006 or 2007 Christmas event. I will have to confirm that. However, what this track is just different. It is wonderful. I still remember that Christmas event in my head. I remember what was going on in my life at the time. I remember being like a 13, 14-year-old. I was starting to hit puberty properly. I don't remember being a little kid. I remember being relatively a lad. Like I was almost a grown man at that point. And it is a wonderful thing to listen to, and I recommend everyone to give a little listen to Jungle Bells, as we're still a couple of days before Christmas. I'm sure you'll get those festive vibes straight in your heart, and thank you for listening to that if you did, because it's close to me. Now, going forwards, this is my top 5 list, and my top 5 list will be very typical. I don't think there'll be anything too surprising here. Let's start with number 5, FanFare. This is a grandiose track, a track that makes you think of white knights marching along, battling against the black knights, defending Falador from those who seek to destroy it. It makes you think of the little ducks swimming in the river outside White Knight's castle. If you're a true veteran of the game, you possibly remember the time before White Knight's castle was even updated to look the way it looks now. It possibly reminds you slightly of the Falador party room, as you probably have experienced the track before you reach there. It's a wonderful, wonderful track. I do implore you to listen to it as much as you can. By the way, I'm speaking extra good English. I'm really from N still, you know, like if you know what that is, you know what that is. But I don't know, whenever I play RuneScape, I feel about 20 times posher than I actually am. Now, let's continue. Number 4 is Parade. Now, Parade is a wonderful track. I think it's close to the wilderness. There's a pub north of Falador, a little spot where I think there's a few quests involved with this pub. The track itself is absolutely spellbinding. It is one of the best composed pieces of musical, excellence I've ever had the pleasure of listening to. However, the reason why I like this track the most is because of a dubstep remix made by a guy called Pixel, Pixl. I recommend you listen to that remix, because that remix takes this track from beautiful piece of RuneScape art to this is a coming of age piece of music. You feel like you're turning from that little kid who used to just play RuneScape to escape their problems, and you are becoming the man who plays RuneScape because everything in life is crap. That's what that track feels like. Moving forward swiftly and onwards towards number 3, we have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece of RuneScape composition, which is probably a bit more niche, Barbianism. So I remember fishing was one of my favorite skills, and anybody who's spent more than a year in F2P, which is most people who were poor back in the day, I'll be honest, my parents didn't have a clue how to use their credit cards online. So I had to get the membership myself for the first time through texting the number and all that jazz. This was back in 2006, 7. I think I got my first membership in 2008 actually. So scratch that. This was back in 2008. This was actually quite a while after old school RuneScape had begun to die in its original sense. But I remember that when I used to spend all my time in F2P, I would listen to the barbarian drums, and I would listen to the humming, that that beat in my head, and same with my siblings, none of whom still play RuneScape. It rings in their heads, and it really reminds us of what RuneScape was, and forever will be in our hearts. And it is a beautiful, beautiful track. Possibly not the most, listener-friendly track. It's not something you'd listen to every day. It's not something you'd put on like sea Shanty and have a little vibe to. It is a pure, thoroughbred RuneScape piece of music. Now, for my next track. This one is starting to get into the realms of, people like this track a lot. And that's Medieval. Medieval is wonderful. It is really what, to me, encapsulates all of RuneScape. It is that feeling of armored Western knights riding into battle. It is beautiful in the sense that it really, really gives you this sense of purpose, adventure, and at the same time, you're imagining cottages in the Essex country being heated by logs, and obviously high fire making levels. So you're thinking of all of these beautiful things, and I really recommend you to spend a bit of time listening to Medieval, as it doesn't even feel like it's a track from RuneScape. It feels like it's a track that could be from the late 900s in rural Britannia. Well, back then it was Anglo-Saxon England, but you know what I mean. That was pre-Hastings. So we have completed our journey almost, and we are at the periphery of finding out what my personal top RuneScape track of all time is, and it is very, very, very personal. Everybody will have a different one. However, it is also very fitting, as this track is wonderful. It is possibly something that could bring a tear to my eye. And whenever I quit RuneScape, for a long period of time while I was at uni, in the late in the early 2010s, and while I was at starting my career and work, I always listen to this track from time to time to remind me of the kid I was, and the triumphs and tribulations of my life during the time when I first met RuneScape. And it is the first thing I heard when I loaded up RuneScape on that Internet Explorer browser back in 2005 September, and it is Scape Santa. What a wonderful track. This track really, really, really emphasizes the beauty of RuneScape, the beauty of just, RuneScape is a game drawing heavily from, British culture, and it is a very British game at heart. And this track in itself feels like hot chocolate, feels like, a campfire. It feels like Christmas crackers and party hats without even the RuneScape context of them. It feels like celebration. It feels like the end of trials and tribulations. It feels like warmth and beauty and everything that comes with it. This track, my friends, is Scape Santa, and I recommend you spend about 2 minutes of your day listening to it and spend the rest of your day with a smile on your face. That is my top 5 list of RuneScape. I also have, I wouldn't say these are honorable mentions because I do like these tracks, and they could have been on the top 5. I do have some other tracks I'd like to mention, and that is just, I felt RuneScape growing up was a very inclusive game, in the sense that it explored different types of cultures, and we're not here being super politically correct, because, it's not about that. It's about just celebrating humanity. And I didn't know about a lot of history. RuneScape got me into history. I ended up doing history A-level, which is high school effectively, and I've always had a passion for history thanks to RuneScape. And one of the reasons of RuneScape I was really fascinated with was Al-Kharid, and this place is absolute nonsense in the way it's named. It literally has no real meaning in Arabic, and in Persian it means like buying something, Kharid, and it just means the buy in Persian, Arabic, whatever. However, what it did was open my horizons to realizing that brown people can be cool too, and so can black people. We have Karamajar as well. The music there is beautiful. You have some really, really lovely references to Kiswahili culture in some of the quests. You have some beautiful references to Arabic culture in some of the Desert Treasure quests and all of that, and ancient Egyptian culture. And obviously it is not, none of it is factual. It's all a bit of bullshit. However, it exists and it's wonderful, and it gives us a way and a perspective of looking at things. So I hope you enjoyed my little top 5 list, and I hope you would put your top 5 RuneScape tracks in the comment section below. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you gain 1 billion agility XP every hour, because agility is the worst skill in this game. It's just such a pain to try to train, but I decided that while I'm training agility, I'll make this little video and I'll share a bit of my personal feelings with you guys. So I hope you guys are having a beautiful, wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time. It's Dark Purple Shadow. Love.